in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Magandang hapon mga summoners at maligayang pagbabalik dito sa 2018 LoL Varsity League Spring Term Group Stage. Kami ang makakasama niyong casters for today. Ako si Arctic at Sir Sam. And of course, kasama ko si G10 coming at you.
That's right, Arctic. And today we are casting the game of UP Diliman versus BulSU GoSu X. Now, we just had UP Diliman last game,
Yeah.
and they lost to TUP. It was a very close fight. There were some moments where UPD could have won it. They could have turned the game around, but it seemed like TUP just had too much control over the map.
That's the interesting thing about when it comes to me looking at games coming in from UPD man. They're kind of like a magic 8-ball for me at this point. Like you never know what you're really gonna get off of their games, and fortunately this one didn't lead towards a positive win, but who knows heading into this game. I mean, in all fairness, since they did kind of perform almost there, hopefully heading up against Bulacan State University they could potentially push for our first upset, because in FIT's case earlier, they were kind of poised to go for a 4-0, but fortunately suffered their first loss for the week, ending 3-1. So who knows, maybe Bulacan State University, can they go for the 4-0? Will they be the only 4-0 in our group so far, or will they get upset by UPD? Who knows?
It looks pretty likely because for UPD, they have one win, and one is a very, very sacred number in UPD. Uno means that you got the highest. So
Okay, you'd know definitely.
yeah, I would know. But still, UPD, although they did lose against TUP earlier, they did make it really, really close.
Right.
When TUP got past the mid game and UPD was looking towards the late game, there were some points where they definitely could have won the game. They could have taken over, but there was just too much map control. TUP was able to sneak a Baron actually, and that was just the death of UP for that game.
That's the interesting point that you bring up there, because going into this game, yan yung medyo nag-aalangan ako na kaya nabibring up ko talaga yung possibility na pwede itong maging upset for Bulacan State University, kasi based na nakita kong game sa kanila so far, oo, meron silang mga dominant performances, pero at the same time, meron pa rin mga bagay na pwedeng pa rin i-fine-tune sa how they go about the game. And I think, considering what strengths UPD has as a team, feeling ko sila yung team na pwedeng maging kryptonite ng Bulacan State University, in the sense na kaya nilang mag-capitalize sa kung ano yung weaknesses ang meron ang Bulacan State University based sa nakita nating 3 games sa kanila so far.
Yeah, UP really does have a focus on like the macro game, the late game. They want to go for that scaling comp. They want to fight as a team. Their team fighting is pretty clean from what we've seen from TUP, except for the last couple of team fights. But BulSU, they do want the picks. They want the skirmishes, like we've seen with a lot of teams like TUP, FEU, IT. They go for that pick, and then they snowball that lead from there.
So we'll just have to see. It's medyo interesting yung game natin kasi saktong-sakto na tayong yung caster. Like, I mean, Vulcan and Chisto mentioned nga na I've been supporting BulSU nung LCL days pa lang naman. Ikaw naman, you're pretty much, that's your alma mater. That's where you're casting right now, UPD. So it's like, ready, round 1, fight.
I like that because, fun fact for you guys, Arctic here is actually from Bulacan.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm from UP Diliman, so it's really,
interesting how we suddenly ended up on the caster table by some certain change of dynamic. It wasn't planned basically. Nagkataon lang talaga.
It was a twist of fate as we come into Champion Select here.
So there you have it. Let's go ahead and check out what bans are being thrown out so far. Interesting enough, the Scion gonna be thrown out onto Bulacan State University. So I believe this is a target ban onto Chris. Could be within respect as well.
Actually, I have a theory. Vial has actually played, I think, Scion mid in week 1. So I think that could be a respect ban towards Vial actually instead of Chris.
So not just that, we also have the Morgana ban being thrown out as well. So pretty much utilized by Bulacan State University in their victories. If I'm not mistaken, like 2 out of 3 of their support games were on Morgana. The last one was the one earlier with the Lulu pick. There you go.
Yeah, and that Lulu Karma Ezreal pick, I believe, was it.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
That was a really really tough game for their opponents. But UPD here going to be picking up their bot lane, I think, Ezreal and possibly Karma.
Interesting. I'm having flashbacks of Bulacan State University's game 1 with this. What we have here so far, I mean, we have the Ezreal as well as the Karma. But interesting enough, let's just touch up on what Bulacan State University has drafted real quick. Chris going to be sticking to the Cho'Gath, and in all fairness, why pick something that isn't quite broken? And the way Chris has maneuvered around this champion, he's seen quite the success. So we'll just have to see if he could pull off yet another victory with this champion. Meanwhile, for UPD, the Gangplank.
Nona on the Gangplank. Nona actually played Cho'Gath last game, and he did pretty well actually, beating out this Sims Camille, but they still lost that, although he was a huge Cho'Gath. I want to see what he does with this GP pick though.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this matchup will eventually go, but looks like Yesh going to be going for the Grave, so we're seeing quite a bit of comfort to Bulacan State University's composition, but whoa, okay, Jana pick that kind of got surprised by that, but let's review the second rotation of picks here. So look at this, Rakan and Braum, so heavy focus onto Ralph to kind of dwindle down what support picks he could bring to the table, I guess, which is why we are seeing a Jana to an extent.
That Jana though is going to provide a little more safety for the Saya with all of the shields that Jana has, with a disengage that he potentially has, but the Olaf pick here from UPD, you know, just going to ignore all that CC and go straight for the backline.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a tricky thing for Bulacan State University. I'm wondering how they're going to be wrapping up this composition. I wonder if that's a little bit of a...
Ooh, it went through! Katarina middle lane for Vial. What do you think about this, Arctic?
Okay, what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? Looks like the claws are out for Bulacan State University. Okay, I was talking about kanina nung earlier during the day na interesado akong makakita ng creative picks na manggagaling sa mga teams natin. I was not expecting a Katarina today.
This is very, very creative. It actually almost looks like a solo queue composition.
Yeah, but
that Bulacan is running.
Now that I'm looking at the composition here, let's look at what could cancel out the Katarina, because the only two champions that could cancel out that ultimate is the Talia through her knockup and Weaver's Wall by displacing the Katarina, not to mention the root from Karma, but it's not an instant root. You still have to wait for the 2 seconds, be within that vicinity to actually proc that root. So interesting. I guess the more that I look at it, I guess this Katarina could actually be a feasible pick for Bulacan State University.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of seeing it now, because there's almost no way to reliably interrupt that ultimate for UPD. They're really going to have to play really safe. And I think Bulacan State University just kind of dictated what their strategy is going to be. They want to go aggressive in that early and mid game, and UPD is going to have to kind of scale back a little bit.
So there you have it, guys. We have both sides locked in. Let's go ahead and hit on to this game. So once again, it's going to be game number 6.
Number 6.
Yes, between University of the Philippines Ablation Esports versus Bulacan State University BulSU X. So of course, let us know pa rin sa ating chat kung sino ang rinroot nyo dito. Is gonna be hashtag UPD win o hashtag BulSU win ba kayo? Gusto nyo bang UPD? Do you want to see an upset?
Yes.
On to Bulacan State. G10, no hesitation. Yes.
No hesitation, fully hashtag UPD win. They are my boys, and I know you're looking for that Bulacan State University 4-0.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna say the 4-0 hashtag BulSU win, man.
Right.
Pero
Okay,
tingnan
let's
natin, G10. Of course, unbiased mode first casters.
Of course,
We're gonna
of course.
contain ourselves from our respective biases on this game.
Of course.
But let's see. Wondering how this is gonna go though, because Vial in this case, on this Katarina, I'm actually surprised that it's a pick coming in from Bulacan State University. I mean, we all know for a fact that I remember the old days when Katarina had encountered in the lower ranks and has quite the punch to her, in all fairness.
Yeah.
So, and like we mentioned, there's only little that the University of the Philippines has to cancel out this Katarina. So, to an extent, if they want to make Vial a non-factor in most of these fights, just so that he doesn't get the optimal damage, potentially shut down early, just so that you don't really have to suffer as much damage into the later parts. Or let's say if Vial does have a fairly okay time to a snowballing point on this Katarina, then they almost have to reserve what crowd control they do have to cancel out the Katarina, and that's not really a position you want to be in.
Yeah, and Katarina is one of the most snowbally champions in League of Legends. If she's able to get her full ultimate off, if she's able to get her resets off, then it's really hard to lock her down, really hard to actually do much damage to her. But the first gank coming in, Yesh going to be doing a lot of damage to Naga, but we'll just push him out of lane a little bit.
Not bad, actually. I mean, if you're gonna think about it, naturally this wave coming in from this Thalia, medyo, it's just naturally gonna push out, based on how much Naga can, clear out waves first, potentially go for roam should he wish. So there's still a lot that he can do with this, unless, of course, from what we saw from Yesh, he could make a track moving towards mid lane just so that the Katarina has a better transition sa later parts ng game natin.
Yeah, and I do like that you mentioned that because I do think that Yesh would want to prioritize his mid lane because Vial has a lot of kill pressure on Naga if he can get the right combos in.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look at these other lanes here because Yesh probably doesn't necessarily need to help out bot lane as much because there's a bit more safety to what they have here. I mean, they have the Janna who has the slow, that has the knockup, Ralph as well, bring back those feathers, then as long as you could get the right angle, get a hold on whoever pursues you, and so long as they don't extend their boundaries too much and maintain vision, then I think they should be fine. Meanwhile, in the top lane, let's say there's a gank from Davison in these earlier phases, then I mean, all it takes is for Chris is to make sure that he lands that knockup so there's no further pursuit. Yeah. I mean, there's not real. I mean, Gangplank and Olaf, like if they really want to go hard in, then they might need to expend the flash just to secure a kill.
Speaking of Gangplank and Olaf, I see in the mini-map that there's a lot of action going on. I think Chris was forced to flash, Device did gank there. I'm not wondering why we didn't see it there, but that was the first gank for UPD.
Tricky. So in this case, Chris, he's gonna have to be a bit more careful towards the top side kasi dahil may absence na ng flash niya, the only way he could reliably get away from a potential round 2 gank from the jungler of UPD is kung yun nga, maglalakad na lang siya, needs to hold off with the ultimate pala yung knockup niya.
The knockup actually forcing Vial to take a tower shot there.
Yeah, luckily had a Shunpo to just get his way out of there. Should be just fine.
That emote there. That emote game strong coming from UPD.
Yeah, that's something Vial needs to be a tad bit more careful of. Doesn't want to push it in too much so that he could get potentially set up by Naga here.
Yeah, and I think that Naga will just want to be playing this really safe, at least for the most part, because giving Vial the opportunity to snowball. Ooh, first blood coming in for the side of UPD. Syzygy though going in. For the side of BulSU, they're gonna get 2 now. And they're flashing in for Yochan, but will he be going down? Are they going too deep? Looks like Yochan will just be safe, but that's 3 kills actually across the map for BulSU. Doesn't look good for UPD in this early game.
And I'm having flashbacks of game 1. This is kind of the same scenario where they got a few kills towards a different lane, and then wait, was that game 1? Yes, I believe so. Like there was takes towards the bot lane, and all of a sudden there's a take towards top as well, and then we end up with this standing 0-3. So not a bad start from Bulacan State University overall. So I think with this is what we've been talking about, wherein it just allows Yesh to, if in these later parts of the game he really needs to help out Vial, then at least andun na yung kasiguraduhan na medyo okay na yung standing ni Chris and Empyrean dito na hindi niya masyadong kailangan ipilit.
Yeah, tama ka. And although si Chris, he did solo kill Nona in the top lane, I do wonder how that happened because theoretically Nona should have been fine. He has the poke, he has the safety and the slow, but Chris was just able to run him down.
Yeah, and take note, from what I see here, Chris doesn't even have his ultimate yet.
Yeah.
So that's actually a weird thing. I'd have to agree with you there. Hopefully we get a peek later. I'm not sure if we will, but nonetheless, heading back here. So looks like Vial actually has this wave pushed in onto Naga. So against my judgment from earlier, it's mostly going to be Vial getting this push in instead of the opposite. And that's kind of unfortunate because it limits what Naga can do, even now that he has Weaver's Wall.
Exactly, but I do think that owes to the fact that Katarina is just really scary. Naga doesn't want to give Vial any opportunities to get any damage on him. See, he was standing so far from that dagger, just so that Vial couldn't get the damage onto him.
Yeah, oh.
See, no damage onto Naga, but returning a bunch of damage onto Vial because that respect coming in from Naga is not letting Vial really get any kills, but it's also setting Naga back because he can't roam.
Yeah, looks like Yesh gonna get spotted out by that Olaf though. They have to back away for now. Naga clearing out vision from Bulacan State University, so that's something that BulSU needs to make sure that he's on top of.
Yeah, I do think that UPD's vision game wasn't strong in the last game that they played, and they're really gonna have to step it up if they want a chance to defeat BulSU here.
Meanwhile,
Because,
I like how that jungler from UPD is starting to mirror out where Yesh is, because as much as possible, you don't really want to grant Bulacan State University itong mga other opportunities na potentially makapagpa-snowball pa sa kanila, because it's already starting to build up here. In all fairness though, despite those complications in the bot lane, I gotta give kudos to Yochan though, because amidst the 2-0 from Imperial, he hasn't suffered a kill himself, not to mention keeping up in CS quite well. It's almost dead even intact.
yeah. Yochan, we did see him perform last game as Isaiah. He was pretty good, but TUP was just kind of too much for him to really shred through. I want to see him in his Ezreal pick, and I am interested to see if he's going to go the double tier item Ezreal build.
In the meantime though, looking at things here in the mid lane between the Talia and the Katarina, medyo nakita mo na yung struggle ni Vial in a way. Kung titingnan mo yung CS, 74 to 49. And I think it all comes down to Vial. He can't really go full on in farming every single creep, because every time he goes in, it just makes him much more susceptible for Naga to predict where he'll be as far as positioning, get a full-on combo. So yun yung medyo hazard when you're Katarina going up against Atalia.
Yeah.
Kaya medyo distansya amigo si Vial these past few minutes actually. It's because of that aspect. And nakita naman natin, as soon as Naga gets a full-on combo, Vial is just gonna feel the hurt from that Talia.
Exactly, and although neither of them have been roaming, but Chris wants to get a dive onto Nona, I think.
Oh.
Maybe Nona very, very low, but so is Chris.
Yeah, Chris has to be careful. Ultimate is actually down for him, so I don't think he really needs to overextend the boundary there. Meanwhile, Yesh and Vial actually going for a sneaky mountain break. We see a few pings coming in from UPD Liman. They sniff this out. Question is, will Yesh be able to secure it in time? I don't think members of UPD Liman are going to try to contest this though. Looks like Talia just plain and simple went back to lane, and that's going to be first dragon of the game. Mountain break going to Bulacan State University.
Yeah, and I think this has been done a lot to UPD. They've just been sneaked around. Objectives have been gotten without them ever even having vision of it, like in the last game. But I do commend Vial for not letting Talia get her roams off, but Yesh is here in the bot lane trying to go for a gank. Will be spotted out, will be dissuaded, but Device also here. Ultimate has been used from Yesh. That's a little bit of a skirmish here.
Yeah,
no commitment.
Okay, so I guess it's a good call from this Olaf to have backed off, because had he been a bit more on the greedier side in trying pursuing, yes, Vial was just waiting around the corner in that dragon pit. So good return coming in from the jungle of UPD.
Yeah, UPD is just respecting Vial so much on this Katarina. They know they have no way to stop her ultimate, so they just try to not let themselves get caught in situations where she could get that ultimate off. Oh, but in the top lane, another skirmish between Nona and Chris.
And Chris, looks like we're starting to see a bit of a gold difference manifest, but then again, Nuna does have that have the ability to kind of stack up a bit more of that extra gold based on his parlay, so
Yeah.
should be fine.
It should be, but Chris is up 1 kill and he's already gone Ninja Tab. By that will reduce Nona's damage by quite a bit. Chris wants to go for this?
Yeah.
Maybe? He doesn't know, I think, that the Device is on his way up here. He does now.
Okay, he has an inkling now, and that's going to be the knockout.
But it looks like he's still going for Nona, or just going for some harass. This top lane matchup has really been just a lot of harass going down, but just 1 kill so far, no jungle attention. But Chris is gonna go for Nona. He doesn't have Feast, so that's not going to be a kill unless Naga and Device kind of sneak up here.
Yeah, Chris kind of needs to be careful though. Does not want to get caught out, overextended, locked into a Weaver's Wall. Flash is up for him though in case that is gonna be a possible scenario, but mukhang hindi naman dito tuloy ng Olaf at ang Talia na tulungan itong Gangplank dito sa top side, as I think it would be too much of a risk in the first place for Chris to try to go in for that ultimate in on Nuna.
But it's also very possible because Feast does do a lot of damage. If he can get the knock up onto Nona, he can flash E and then just feast on him, but looks like Device wants to get something here. Will he be able to get anything? He just throws an axe out. But Yesh is here. He is spotting out Device, has the flash out. A lot of resources burned there for UPD.
Quite a bit of damage on coming in from Yesh. I wasn't expecting that much actually,
Yeah.
but then again, looking at the item direction for this Olaf, well, then again, is building a bit more on the healthier side to his first jungler item. So overall, a bit surprised there. But then again, first item has already been completed by Yesh in comparison to this Olaf here.
But Device coming in here for the gank. The slow is there. The piece coming in from Chris. Not yet. Nona is going to get the ultimate off, but Device will get the first kill for UP Diliman.
Oh, Chris, a bit more greedy there. Looks like he finally gave in to the impulse of trying to get the kill onto Nona. Will unfortunately suffer as a casualty, but then again, it just pretty much balances out things. Kill did go to that Olaf though.
His feast was up for so long. He was just a very hungry Cho'Gath. He wanted that kill. He wanted that stack, but Nona was able to flash like at a really opportune time there to deny that from him.
Yeah, looks like might want to think twice again there. But in all fairness, I mean, this Olaf has been lingering towards the upper side for quite some time. I guess that patience finally did pay off for him.
Yes. And I'm still kind of surprised at this mid lane. There has been almost 0 roams coming in from both of the mid laners. These are both very roam-heavy champions, but they've just been preventing each other from actually leaving the mid lane by just clearing the waves.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, it's mostly Naga and Ya trying to build up towards their first item as much as possible, get core items just so that they're a bit more potent heading into these fights, especially Naga here, just so that as soon as he completes that first item, has a bit more accessibility to his abilities, just so that's a bit more reliant in the bigger fights here.
Yeah, and this bot lane, both of their bot lanes are very kind of safe. Granted, there has been not a lot of jungle pressure after that first double kill from Empyrean, but you know, they're not really letting each other get any opportunities to go for a kill here.
Yeah, interesting enough though, Manamune already completed right off the bat here for Yochan. Meanwhile, then again, he is running Klepto, so easier access to that gold, even though Empyrean is 2-0 ahead. So kind of working down for a minute. Meanwhile, Empyrean still looking to complete his first item. Has prioritized completion of Berserker's Creeps though.
Yeah, that will give him some much needed attack speed to actually get his feathers out. But here in the mid lane, looks like Device, well, oh, he is spotted out by Yesh. It's going to be a jungler battle for just a bit here. Device knows that he can't really do this because Yesh just does quite a bit of damage. Device can't really 1v1 that, not for a little while at least.
Nope, not at all. But meanwhile, this might give Chris a bit of confidence as well as to Nona if he can try to go for it to try to fight these 1v1s, given that both junglers are lingering dito sa bot side ng mapa natin.
Yeah. Pero I don't think that Nona really has the potential to kill Chris dito kasi he has just too many armor stats for Nona to really to contend with.
Yeah, and this Chris, I mean, looking at his itemization, just look at that. Ninja Tabi already has Glacial Shroud, just full-on armor, just makes it all the more complicated for Nuna to even do anything but
Yesh going to be spotting out Naga there. Naga is able to flash out in the direction Yesh wasn't expecting. So that will save his life.
Yeah, looks like good attempt though, in all fairness. Ended up extending the flash though, so it's a bit of a waste, but then again, it was a flash for a flash, so I guess it depends on how you look at it. Look at it, half class 4, half class M2.
Yeah, I think that's also kind of setting up for Vyal trying to get low, but as I say that, Yochan is coming into exhaust coming dropped onto Empyrean here. I think there was quite a bit of a lack of commitment there. I'm pretty sure that Yochan could have maybe won that if he got the right skills up in time, because I don't think the Relt really wanted to go on that. But Device here, kind of gank a little bit, just going to triple Chris, the tanky Cho'Gath.
Ooh. Well, looks like Chris gonna have to try to restrain himself a bit here with that response coming in from the Olaf. Gonna grant a little bit more relief for Nuna here in the top side. And I think it's been a while since we saw UPD's top laner pushing in onto this Cho'Gath. Mostly been the opposite, where Chris just constant pressure, if not just kind of midway through the lane.
Yeah, and Nona, we did talk about Nona being one of the players of UPD to actually watch out for, but this top lane has not been really impactful on the map. To be honest, not a lot of people have been really impactful on this map. 1 kill to 3 kills, no towers taken at 16 minutes, but it looks like BulSU will be sneaking a second dragon out. UPD nowhere near contesting that.
Yep. Looks like Ultimate was thrown out by the Gangplank though. Yesh might want to be careful though. Naga in. That Olaf is within the vicinity. Alright, so Bulacan State University is going to go for something because... Ooh,
Oh, but they're
Imperial.
going for something in the bot lane. Yochan knows that Jan is not there, and
Yowza.
CCG gets Empyrean with an empowered Q.
Imperial not respecting the damage output coming in from both Yochan and Syzygy. At the same time, gonna suffer a casualty himself. Man, had a bit of an overstep from Bulacan State University's marksman there.
Just a little bit. But I think that was a correct play from UPD. They did know that the Janna wasn't there. Janna went there to help, yes, through the dragon actually. And they took advantage of that fact by just going hard on Imperial.
Ooh, yes. Nobody really knows about this Rift Herald take just yet. So I'm wondering, can UPD eventually sniff this out? I'm not quite sure. Looks like Yesh might actually be getting away with yet another objective. He's been on top of things lately, in all fairness.
This has actually been a worrying trend I've been seeing at UPD's that has happened in UPD's games. They've just gotten objectives snuck out from under them with no vision. And it's just I don't know if it's just because the junglers have been so oppressive on the side of UPD's opponents, but UPD has not been able to really contest any of these objectives so far in their 2 games today.
That was a bit unfortunate. You noticed that scrying orb position was in that brush towards the upper side of that Baron pit. Had they had the forethought to have thought that maybe Rift Herald would have been taken, especially that we're nearing the 20-minute mark, then could have been it. Like, UPD might have actually been able to do something there, but unfortunately that's not really the case. And I don't know, the fact that Yesh was able to get away with 2 dragons and Rift Herald before UPD realizes that it's even being taken, I think that's ultimately something that could have been accomplished if they had been a bit more on top of vision when it comes to these key objectives.
Yeah, it does look, however, that BulSU and UP are just trying to play it safe, really. And they're not really going for these risky fights, these risky skirmishes. And I think they're both going for the late game.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out something interesting. Yochan has built 2 Tier of the Goddesses. He's going for that build where you build both Seraph's Embrace and Muir Mana.
Yeah. He's just gonna spam like there's no tomorrow.
And what's interesting though is that he's going for Triforce instead of the conventional Iceborne Gauntlet build here. He just wants to get that damage. He doesn't want any of that safety. He's gonna rely on his karma to actually keep him safe.
Yeah, and looks like Empyrean has his work it out for him. I mean, we have 2 champions in this bot lane at this point. Syzygy already starting to build up himself. Take note, he did take sorcerers as well, so he packs quite a bit of a punch there.
Yeah, it looks like Zel is kind of engaging onto Naga. Ultimate has been dropped, but exhausting him. Yesh also there, but a little bit too late to actually do a lot of damage. But Syzygy and Yochan are taking the time, the advantage there. Device also there. Both teleports are going to come down. Chris and Nona are here. Nona has an ultimate available, but Device has been rooted. A lot of damage onto him, less than half health. But it looks like UPD is just going to run back. Maybe ultimate has been dropped. 2-shot barrage.
I'm not really sure if I'm the best fan of both top laners needing to use teleport in that fight, because the way I see it, Empyrean and Ralph were pretty much within to safety, but I guess it would have been a
Naga almost died there, but good use of a flash will keep him alive, but the first turret will be going down for BulSU.
Not the most value that they're getting off of Rift Herald, but at least they did get first turret, so I guess that is a bit okay. And interesting enough, that's first turret within 20.
Chris flashing over the wall and chopping onto Naga. He does have to contend with Nona and Device now here, but Bial and Ralph are there to help him out. Bial has to go in. Device flashes out, but Syzygy is also here. Oof, that was a very tough one.
Yeah.
Naga was almost at the end of his recall there.
I was not expecting that sudden... I don't think anybody was expecting it. That Cho'Gath suddenly coming in onto Naga there. But then again, it just goes back to, if you're going to look at the vision from UPD Liman, they've pretty much been on top of the offensive vision towards Bulacan State University's bottom side of the map. But as far as proactive vision on their own side, then that's kind of a blind spot for them, which is why I think ultimately that Cho'Gath just pretty much a clean backdoor.
That's a good point. And you know what? They put the Dilim in UP Diliman.
Oh no!
Here I am, trash talking.
That was pretty okay. That was pretty okay though.
Thank you. But you know, you do have a point. They don't have that much vision in their own jungle, especially when BulSU wants to go aggressive. that's going to spell disaster for them.
Man, we're just gonna have to see UPD Diliman. They have to be a little bit more careful there. So is Empyrean, by the way. But looks like they're trying to chunk down that turret to take it down as soon as possible. Won't be quite feasible yet. Not being able to clear up, but oh, Chris.
Speaking of vision, Chris here has none. He has no clue that Yochan and Syzygy are both here. That's a 4v1. No matter how you slice that, Chris is gonna go down.
Yes, fortunately, that will be a takedown onto Bulacan State University's top laner. Meanwhile, I'm wondering, can UPD might actually get a shove out here onto the top side?
That's a lot of damage onto Yesh, but he will get the steal that he was going for. BulSU getting another tower there.
Yeah, looks like they will be able to potentially trade off bot lane turret for top lane as the Ezreal and the Gangplank are already on just that, and there's the takedown right there.
Infernal Drake is spawning in 5 seconds. I think that UP Diliman will want to take this. They will need to take this because an Infernal Drake on BulSu's team is going to be very, very deadly with the Katarina, with the Graves, with the Saya.
Almost everybody benefits from that extra chunk of damage.
Yes, oh my god. And here, Device has to pop his ultimate just to get away from the Zaya.
Take note, Flash isn't up for him, so he can't really go for an over-the-wall steal onto this Infernal. He has to make the walk all the way. Looks like he is hiding in that crush, though.
And he will be spotted out. It looks like this dragon will be solidly in BulSu's pocket. And UP has to run from this fight. Righteous Glory from Chris has been popped. He will not be getting anybody. What? Actually, knocking up Device, but that will just be a dragon for BulSu, their third win of the game.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like UPD, they're starting to make a maneuver towards this mid lane. Vial and Yeshar on the defense, though. So that's going to be True Shot Barrage thrown out, getting quite a bit of damage onto Vial. By the way, Chris is going to be there to supplement that. A bit of a tankier Cho'Gath, so I'm not really sure if UPD1 can get a decent shoving on this mid lane anytime soon.
Yeah, although I do think that the strength of UPD at this point is that they can push pretty hard. They have the weight clear for it, and they have the safety that Yochan has with his Arcane Shift, so that he won't get caught out by the Katarina, by the Cho'Gath, or by anybody else, along with Syzygy having the synergy with Yochan to actually utilize that.
Syzygy with the synergy.
Exactly.
G10 with the Rams, man.
I'm a rap god.
Man, nonetheless, though, it's interesting because the gold... I was about to say goal difference, but there's not really much of a difference to speak of in the first place. It's still looking very dead even in the midst of Bulacan State University being up in kills, by that one kill being up in turret, being up in 3 dragons taken. But I think it ultimately could fall from the Klepto Ezreal here that allows that goal difference to kind of still balance out together.
Syzygy has to flash out of that. The ambush coming in from Yesh and Chris. Syzygy once again with the on-point reactions. He's been doing that since the last game. But as you were saying, the Ezreal just has to do the Ezreal thing that he's doing and just kind of push clear waves, because as we've seen, Yochan does have the talent to actually carry this game if he's safe enough.
Yeah, and so far he's been keeping himself in quite a good standing, 101, and if anything was able to get that kill off of Empyrean earlier. So I think, in all fairness to UPD's bot lane, they've been doing fairly substantially well, surviving out these first few... Ooh.
I thought Device was actually going to go hard on that. He did pop his Righteous Glory, but maybe it was just to scare the mid lane a little bit.
Yeah, meanwhile, Empyrean and Rob are getting some substantial damage towards the top side. Ooh, okay, Weaver's Wall.
A little bit short there.
Yeah, a bit short off, but then again, does the trick as far as that scare though. So
yeah, it's not the size of the liner, but the motion of the ocean, as they say.
Wow, that was pretty deep. I'm not sure I'll be able to digest that just yet.
But you know what's being digested is a kill, I think. Oh, here we go. Another kill for the Katarina, finally popping off the ult from Nona. Syzygy running for his life, giving another kill here to Vial. Finally 2-0, popping off in that cat. That is a 2-for-1 so far. Yochan was able to get the kill onto Yesh there. But Chris is now running down Nona. I'm not sure if Nona can actually survive this. He is going to be knocked up as the oranges. Chris, he's going for the dive. Righteous Glory, he's going for the feast and does just go down on Nona. Taking him down.
Chris, just pretty gutsy at this point. But then again, given his itemization, given how many stacks he's managed to build up through those pieces, he's pretty much, I'm not even sure how you put it. Like, what do you call a big monster just running at you? And you just kind of fear for your life at that point. I don't know.
That's pretty scary. That's actually a plot of a lot of horror movies.
A little bit of yeah, it's kind of like a nightmare in the making.
Yes, sadly he's not using Nightmare Choget, I don't think. That would be fun. That would be fun.
But anyways, nonetheless, Chris though, he's been doing okay. I mean, amidst those two deaths towards the upper side earlier, as far as what Nuna can do against this Cho'Gath, not really much anytime soon. I mean, the fact that Chris was able to just run straight at him under turret,
Literally running him down.
that's already a telltale sign of UPD Liman at this point, needing to commit more members than they need to in order to stop an otherwise full throttle sieging Chris.
Yeah, and that's kind of the story for Vial, Yesh, and Chris. UPD has to dedicate more members than just one to actually deal with them, or else they're just going to be taken down. The 1v1 from Vial, Yesh, and Chris is kind of terrifying at this point in the game.
Whew. UPD Liman though, looks like they are starting to come up on top of the Vision games here towards the Baron side. Really good call by the way, because at this point, with Bulacan State University slowly building up, ang dapat talaga maiwasan ng University of the Philippines naman dito is na mahayaan yung Bulacan State University na makahanap pa ng iba't ibang oportunidad na makapag further skill up and just get these powerhouses like the Katarina going. So
yeah, this Katarina, he's starting to pop up already. Vial 2-0. That's gonna be really scary, especially in team fights. They have really not a lot of, especially since I just say that Vial is just gonna kill Syzygy through the exhaust there.
Yautza.
3-0 Katarina. This is not a sight that UPD wants to see.
Not at all, G10, and overall, it's such a shame because University of the Philippines Diliman, within the first, 15 minutes of the game, they were able to keep this Katarina in check. Sure, not necessarily in terms of getting takedowns in the mid lane, but not allowing her any kills either. And man, oh man, Bulacan State University, pretty much signature to them at this point, going for a very gutsy Baron Nashor.
Yeah, UPD doesn't really have the tools to deal with this at this point. They'll just get run down and aced if they do try to fight that. And it's kind of hard to actually visualize what UPD can do against this combo of BulSU going on into the game, because Chris is just going to get tankier and tankier.
Yeah, and with that Baron buff on him, like, I don't know, that's gonna be one scary sieging Cho'Gath that Nuna alone cannot withstand himself. And looks like Bulacan State University ready to poise themselves to take their second Infernal of the game.
Yes, except Device is already running in, trying to get onto Imperial as well. Is trying to find a way into this fight. This Ezreal is kind of isolated, but there is the first kill going to go down for BulSU, and another one plus the Dragon. Finally, Naga going to be denying Vial that third kill. But we were just talking about this. Vial really scary on this Katarina already, 5-0.
I'm absolutely mind blown by this Katarina right now. I mean, considering that Bulacan State University was on this red side, it just baffles me. Like, I gotta give kudos to the coach for being able to read how a Katarina would actually work in this game, given that UPD doesn't really have the solid crowd control to cancel out an ultimate. But look at Chris taking down Syzygy right then and there.
No control for that either. Yochan trying to get into this Cho'Gath's face. I'm not sure how UPD can look for ways to get back into this game. Yochan 2-0. He is the carry, but he's not doing a lot of damage because it's just really dangerous to get into BulSU's face right now.
Oh man, Bulacan State University, are they going to try to go for a picture-perfect finish here? Take note, Vial, they're just pushing towards the bot lane. Bulacan State University, they don't really need to push for those Nexus turrets just yet. They can kind of rendezvous here towards the bot side, potentially go for a pickup here.
UPD looks kind of lost here right now. They're just going to let the inhibitor tower fall in the next inhibitor. They really can't do anything because at this point in the game, BulSU is just too tanky and does too much damage for UPD to actually do anything. They're at a very big disadvantage, and it'll be ill-advised if they try to go for anything actually right now.
Oh man, looks like Bulacan State University going to be taking the safer route here by going back. I mean, with 3 inhibitors already taken down from University of the Philippines Diliman, there's definitely that confidence in the fact that they're not really going to be overextending into any territory that Bulacan State University doesn't want to anytime soon, without a doubt.
Yeah, now BulSU owns the map, and UPD just kind of look like, they're lost. This is a game where they really can't do anything anymore. BulSU has just throttled them with their really good picks, honestly. and the execution from BulSU is just almost flawless.
Yeah, but then again, I can't really blame University of the Philippines Diliman because, like, just generally the curveball with this Katarina was,
Nobody saw that coming.
yeah, nobody saw it coming. It was a very wise isn't quite the word.
Because curveball is already the word.
Yeah, there you go.
But
It's just a smart curveball.
yeah, man, it was just so unexpected that UP Diliman have no way. They don't know how to counter it because I don't think they've ever encountered a Katarina in a competitive environment.
The only way that they could have shut down this Katarina if they themselves were ahead in this game, that the Katarina, even though she goes in, would pretty much be a non-factor just because of how much damage they would have been able to exert taking down Katarina instantly before she could even dish out massive damage. But that's not really the case
There's
here.
the massive damage you're talking about, taking down Nona, and finally the Nexus turrets are going to fall. UP Diliman with their second loss of the day. BulSU gonna retain their perfect record 4-0 for this game.
What a second week to Bulacan State University's LVL run, and it's just getting all the more better. Whew.
Man, looks like you won, my friend.
Yes.
Bulacan
game.
Pride, good game. But speaking of that game, that Katarina pick from Bulacan State University was just mind-blowing.
Exactly. And I think, again, like I mentioned, some of the things that I would have preferred to have seen from UP Diliman, of course, just the general vision. Like, there was just no excuse for Yesh to have gotten a double dragon, a Rift Herald
Yeah.
uncontested, and UPD just kind of realizing that it was potentially up for takes right at the last moment when Yesh is about to deal that final blow to those objectives. And overall, it was just quite the build-up. I gotta give kudos though, like I mentioned, they didn't allow Katarina any opportunity to have gotten an earlier snowball. It was a little bit in on later once Bulacan State University became much more proactive as a team, extending a bit more into UPD's territory. It was a risk that they took, in all fairness, by fielding that Katarina, but a wise curveball really paid off in the end, and I'm a fan, to be honest.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I am also a fan. That worrying trend that you mentioned of UPD just not having vision of objectives, I think that's something that they really have to work on if they want to proceed, further into LVL.
Yeah.
Because you can't just give up objectives like that. No vision, no contesting, no pressure really on your opponents. And that just loses games.
What I will give kudos though to UP Diliman is Yochan and Syzygy. They
Yes.
actually did pretty well in holding down that bot lane, knowing when to try to go for their skills onto Empyrean. But at the end of the day, of course, the team effort leading up to that victory, definitely Bulacan State University played it a bit better. Just right down to that drafting phase, it was just so unexpected.
Yeah, Nona really couldn't do anything to that Cho'Gath, and with Nona being the player that we kind of think has the most potential to really carry
Right.
UPD to victory, it's not looking good for him because he was just run down, even under tower by Chris there.
So there you have it, ladies and gents. That was an insane game that we had there. Bulacan State University going to retain a perfect record here in the LVL. As G10 mentioned, when we do come back, we're going to be seeing UST take the stage.
Yeah, that's
so let's go ahead and see if they themselves can pull off a perfect day for their LVL run. But we're going to be taking a short break for the meantime. We have been your casters, Art Cat to serve, and with me is G10 coming at you. And of course, this is 2018 League of Legends Varsity League Spring Term. We'll see you guys for game number 7.